Alright guys, I'm Jake. By show of hands, who here knows what Assembly Bill 10 is? Besides Richard, because I know he knows. Alright, so everybody. Assembly Bill 10 is the new bill that makes minimum wage no less than $9 an hour beginning July 1st, 2014, and no less than $10 an hour beginning January 1st, 2016. If you guys didn't know, this bill has already been passed in the state of California. As of right now, unless, I don't know anything that could happen, it is going to happen. So if you work a minimum wage job, congratulations. We all know that the current minimum wage law is began January 1st, 2008, that in all industries, minimum wage can be no less than $8 an hour. My primary claim, even though it sounded like I was all positive about that, right? My primary claim is that the newly imposed bill, Assembly Bill 10, is going to have a negative effect on the state of California. My secondary claim is the increase in wage for employees will cause employers to create less jobs, or fewer jobs, and even cut current ones, creating more unemployment. Just to further that same claim, this will create a ripple effect, forcing more people out of jobs as a means to make labor more affordable. I have a pretty good example of that. My previous boss, who owns 2 restaurants, one you can say local because it's Fullerton Tony Roma's, and he also owns the San Marcos Tony Roma's, actually just told me while I was doing research that when this passes, he might have to shut down both restaurants, which would put 70 people out of work. So rather than having $8 an hour, they will have $0 an hour. And he actually, to hopefully prevent that, just put Tony Roma San Marcos up for sale. Betsy McAfee, we'll say her last name is, states in her article about the effect of minimum wage hike that minimum wage hurts, or the raising of minimum wage hurts, not helps our lowest paid workers. She goes on to give a statistic. I don't know where she got her statistics, but a 10% hike in the minimum wage causes a 2.5% drop in employment for young white males and a 6.5% drop in young black males. Sorry ladies, I don't have any statistics for you. The California Chamber of Commerce called Assembly Bill 10 a job killer. And California Restaurant Association, which goes hand in hand with what I was talking about before, a blow to small businesses, and that was reported by ABC News. This one, this statistic I have is more or less an example because it's not about the state of California, it's about the state of Wisconsin. But Brett Healy from the MacIver Institute in the state of Wisconsin said that since 2002, when the minimum wage jumped from $5.15 to $7.25, a $2 increase similar to the one that we are looking at, unemployment rate went up from 15.5% to 19.8%, which is huge. Obviously their population was a little less than California, so could be a bigger percentage increase for California, maybe. This one's actually my favorite card because it says soapbox, which means now I get to just go on my personal opinion rant about this. There's a whole lot of issues with minimum wage being increased. It could be tax issues, it could be unemployment issues, it could be tied in with the Affordable Health Care Act, which some know as Obamacare. Really though, it's kind of like, okay, I wouldn't have been doing my job on this if I didn't look up the pros to minimum wage, so whoever's repeating my speech, pay attention, this is a cookie for you. Pro would say it's morally right to increase minimum wage, which is true. I think that we can all agree it's better for us, potentially better for simple economics as far as making more, spending more, Ingalls Law, that if you make $8 an hour now, you want $10 an hour, right? But let's say from here back now makes $10 an hour, but this side of the classroom you guys don't have jobs. You guys just got fired. Employers just, it has to be more affordable for the employers. you're gonna have to do a lot more work for this money, which is probably a good thing. You guys don't have a job, I'm sorry. You guys are all making $10 an hour and now picking up the slack for what they were doing. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, this is personal, this isn't statistical. 10 people out of 10 making $8 an hour would be better to me than 8 people out of 10 making $10 an hour. That's just my personal opinion. So, thanks, guys.
All right, Jake, I thought that the introduction was fine. You had a good statement of what your claim is. You start previewing what the supporting structure is going to be, but you only get partway through the preview before you start making your argument, and then the rest of the time there's really not an organizational structure except for the evidence that you're presenting. And so I think you need to explain to the audience. I mean, you do a good job explaining the concept behind how this is going to impact employment, but if you had a simple structure that identifies what those supporting points are, it'll be easier for us to follow that explanation, and at the end, when you're summarizing the argument, I think you'll have a more powerful end point to the argument as well. I thought that, so organization I think is a little problematic in the speech. I thought you had some good evidence in the information that you're presenting. You had the estimate about the impact that it's going to have in California. You do probably need to figure out who McAfee is so that we can, see, is this an economist? Is this a staff writer? Is this an opinion piece? Is this based on some kind of research? We don't really get much data there. The Chamber of Commerce, that's a general piece of testimony. It's a job killer. You've got a personal example that I think works well. It's hard for us to check on any of those personal examples. My guess is that there are probably other examples like that you would have been able to find in the research, and something else, another one that can be documented would be helpful, as opposed, like I said, I don't think anybody thinks that you're lying on this, but we don't know that your boss is that financially in trouble, that they're selling one restaurant, maybe going to close the other one. I don't doubt that that's true, but there's no way to check on it for any of us in here, so that becomes a little bit problematic. I thought the comparative data from Wisconsin was fine. That helps make your argument. You do a nice job delivering for the most part, except that you do have a tendency to wander around while you're up there talking. We haven't emphasized delivery skills here, and if we were in a public speaking class, I might yell at you a little bit more about having happy feet. But I think you did a nice job trying to talk to the audience and explain things and relate it to the audience. So that helps. All right. Thank you.